Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome. Welcome back if you have. My intention is unity and oneness in the highest levels of love light. I just wanted to pop on and do a brief happy equinox video. Apologies if my video is kind of all over the place. This is meant to be felt and heard, not necessarily understood on a linear basis. I just wanted to go into a little card flow with the team, with my guides, and also just kind of go into a little bit of maybe an energetic update. Where to begin? Let's just go into flow and kind of see where that leads us. A little light language. Shukuwai makwa hendishi kai wanet ishukuniwai bai kutustineki bak anu shunu oha init ishun. Hene bakai etitishu bak unhi ait ishu puti ti ahinek waha yishima kuatini ai ushinikua. And there are many energies available to us at all times. Yet currently, or right now at this current time, in this currency, in this current of energy that is frequenting your planet right now, there is a higher, more auspicious time, if you will, for aligning with that which it is that we seek to be in expression of. Whatever it is that we have been seeking to express in creative format, in creative form, in flow, is highly encouraged right now. And as much as this is highly encouraged at all times, when the earth is in these spaces and places, we might call it, it brings into our awareness, yours and mine, a more conscious way of expressing these energies. We become more conscious as the ripple effect branches out. And we each and every one of us, whenever I say that, I think of, what's the Christmas carol? To each and every one of us, Little Tim, is that his name? We feel into the energies that are available to us, and more of us accept these energies in a much broader expanse, or a much broader meaning of the word accept. And so we can play with this in a myriad of ways. So I'm just being called to play with this for a moment. So as I say the word accept, I'm hearing accept dance. Will you accept the dance? Like I'm seeing Earth and Mother Nature and just our guides and everything kind of reaching out their hands, which is really reaching out our hands. Think about it, to us. It's all an aspect of us. So I'm just seeing a reference to, will you accept? Will you accept what's being offered? Will you accept what's available? Will you accept your creativity? Will you accept what it is that you would like to, move into or take a path forward into? All of this is part of the message that I'm kind of seeing here. So as we move with the ebb and the flow, and we allow ourselves to create from a resourceful pattern, we begin to move away from lack mentality. We begin to move away from the mentality or the framework, the mental reality of lack, and I'm hearing codependence. Okay, so I'm seeing this be like a myriad of things, like this codependent upon the idea that we need somebody to bail us out of whatever it is, that's part of it, or that we so it's almost like a sense of, I'm just seeing a flow with the universe, a flow with all things, a flow that allows us to move into a more creative and productive pattern of organization, reorganizing the patterns so that we can feel more creative and productive. And this allows us to move with the abundance of the universe. I'm seeing a reference to when we're in a codependent type of whatever it might be, relationship with ourselves, let's say, relationships with the universe. What happens is we're not as self-reliant. And in addition to not being self-reliant, we're not as aware of all the things we have to give, we have to offer, that we have available to us, because we're looking towards, or we're looking for somebody else to come and give it to us. But I'm also seeing this as a reference. I'm being called to go back to the abundance aspect. It's like, and mentality. So when we're in this mental framework, the guides are referencing, we're in our heads about it. We're thinking too much. And part of what I'm feeling in this equinox, and just in general with the next stage of our development, if we want to call it that, is a massive up-leveling creativity. And I'm being called to play with that for a moment, because some people watching this might say, well, I'm not very creative, or I'm not really sure what I'm creative in. And I'm being called to play with that for a moment and recognize that creativity comes in all forms. Creativity does not have to come in a dance form. It does not have to come in an art form. For each, I'm hearing how great thou art, for each and every one of us is an art form in itself, in of itself, in ourselves. And this, how we express it is up to us. How we express ourselves, how we want to show up, how we want to look, feel, act, what we want to work with. And so it is difficult when we are stuck in or locked into an old habit pattern of mental organization all of the time. So we're being invited to take this time and unlock ourselves from our prison of the mind, one might say. And while the mind is extremely valuable and is part of our creative abundance, I'm seeing the value system. It doesn't, you need one with the other. It's not separate of. It is not the only value system that we are being called to interact with. The more we allow ourselves to flow with the abundance of the universe, the more we are able to accept and receive more of that abundance. The more we are able to receive what it is we have been asking for. And I'm hearing it's the law of creativity. This requires us to think outside of the box. In some cases, it may require us to actually dance. In other cases, it may require us to use our hands, to work with our medium that oftentimes we forget about, we put off to the side, we do not see as important as the mind. The medium of our body is part of our enhancement. It enhances the medium of the mind. And so once we work together in embodiment and bring into our physical form, our physical format, with ease, I'm hearing mat and easel, like a lot of art references here, like, once we set that up and work with it, paper, we can see what it is that we're trying to see with more ease and more grace. And this can mean writing. It can also mean reading a material and interpreting it with more flow, much as these words that we are speaking now, that I am speaking now, can be interpreted in a myriad of ways. So let us play with that for a moment and reorganize the ways in which we communicate so as to express a particular format of communication that offers multiple formats and adjunctifications. Play on words. See if I could do this while I'm driving. Ah. Opening to the flow. For we are not locked into a pattern as much as we think we are. We have been holding on to multiple patterns our whole lives. And these are the primary patterns, I'm hearing color patterns, that we play with. And so now we may be called to up our palette, if you will, to increase the colors that are available to us in our palette, to explore more colors than we may have been exploring in the past. So what I'm seeing is, let's say you're a person who just loves white or just loves gray, or everything's black and white, or my favorite color is red. Just sharing these different ideas. I'm being shown like black is a perfect example that holds all the colors in it. I always think of white as holding all the colors in it too, but that's just my imagination. Red, you know, think of red as not just red, but orange and yellow. And think about the combination of those colors. Then think about red mixed with blue, it becomes purple, and red as a medium mixed with white becomes pink, and so on and so forth. And this allows us to think on a broader scale. Okay, more reference to scale. So play on words, right? The harmonic, the colors, and not just a medium as far as artwork, but sound, right? So whenever I use the word scale, if you look at art, which I'm not an artist per se, but you use a color scale, you use a color schematic, it tells you the depth, I guess, of the colors is what I'm hearing. The car, you guys just can't make this up. The car I'm behind is 88, and then next to me is an elevator car that says move up. Okay, so move up the scales, right? This allows us to access more. I'm hearing soundtronics, soundomics, onyx. I'll play with this for a moment. Sorry, I have to keep hitting the record button, and I think my volume is really high. Okay. So, what I'm doing right now is a perfect example of what the guides are inviting us to do with creativity. I'm using all my resources available to me in my vision. And then I take that number or those words as a reflection of what I'm talking about. Or sometimes I see it as a reflection of what I might be asking for. Answers to questions. I might be utilizing that as a medium to reflect back to me answers or messages, or all of the above, right? So it gives us the opportunity to play and get creative in abundance of ways. And that's part of what I feel my mission, if you want to call it that, is to bring that into other people's point of view, into other people's awareness, how to play with words to become more aware of the power of words and the power of reflection in all things as our medium, as a direct connection to source, as a direct connection to the spirit that moves in all things, and the potency of the spells we create, the potency of the geometries and the letter configurations that are part of, I'm hearing the eights, the aces, the cards that we're playing with. And so we use a lot of these words beyond the definition of the word. For this is more of a schematic to play with and allow the energies of the words to move into our scale, if you will, to move into our harmonization so that we may add them to our symphony of orchestration. And oftentimes the words we are using now, we use quite frequently in all of the messages across the board. Yet we are never bored with these same words. For every time we share them, they take on a different schematic. they take on a slightly different attribute. They take on a slightly different equivalent to the mathematic presentation of the meaning or representation of the energy behind the words, for they are lined up with, associated with, and attached to an ever morphing morphology of language and information. This allows us to see in multiple variations and multiple directions all at once. Play on words. So even as I say another example of this, all at once, I'm hearing the same, term I've been hearing a lot, which is everything here now all at once. So it's all available to us. And this goes back to everything here now all at once. Abundance, right? Abundance. So as you dance with this energy, as you allow yourself to open to the, I'm hearing equinoxical, say that words, equinoxical differentiation, different geometry, branches of the tree, you allow yourself to see from a variety of, I'm hearing appenditures, play on words. So we play with this for many reasons, but we invite you to play for many reasons. For as you allow yourself to open to the upcoming seasons, I'm hearing that as a play on words about the equinox, and the representation of what those seasons may bring to you. And as soon as I say seasons, I hear seeds and seize the day. But this allows you to play with energy in a whole new way. And we say in this now moment, for those of you who are having difficulty understanding the words that we are trying to convey, let us speak right now with a simplistic pattern. The energy that you are currently swirling within, we might say, the soup or the frequency, the currency, the energies, the currents of energy, the waves in which you are currently operating within are holding a huge amount of photonic light. This photonic light allows you to spell out a different harmonic, or to resonate at a higher harmonic, to open to a scale of harmonics that were unavailable or inaccessible to some before. This is a play on words in itself. I said simple, but when I say some, I'm hearing S-U-M, before the four. So 1, 2, 3, before 4. And I'm also seeing the 4 directions. It's like opening up another direction. So another dimension. The photonic energy that we all are feeling right now is, I'm seeing a plate being offered on a plate, a serving platter. Ooh, I'm going to say something that's kind of funny. What I'm hearing is whether you are service to others or service to self, it does not matter. In this sense of the word, for you are all matter, no matter what. Ooh, that's that definite play on words. So I'm basically seeing us in a realm where we're all getting this photonic light, no matter who or what we are. And the beauty in this, what I'm hearing is the beauty in the beast, the beauty and the beast, is that each and every one of us has an equal opportunity to rise above the distortion of reality that we have all accepted to play in the past. And I'm hearing no exceptions. So this is another video in itself, I feel, that we might play with, but there's this idea that people can't change, that a tiger can't change its stripes. You know, that's the word. But because of all of the stuff that's happening, this ripple effect that we're having, and this is something I've written about before, we might be surprised at what's in store. we might be surprised at who is now coming forward to show their true colors on both ends of the spectrum. We may be surprised at who is actually uplifted and unveiled by this energy. And so we invite all to open their hearts to all who wish to access this door. For the door is accessible through the heart to all who are willing to start, who are willing to open that space in order to change their geometry codex. So I'm seeing a lot here that's, but I'm just like, I'll come back to that at a later time. For much has been very complicated. Okay, play on words, like it's pretty simple. We've overcomplicated it at times. Much has been distorted, much has been overcomplicated. And we are being called to get back to the simplicity of passion, creativity, expression from the heart. The more of us who are sharing this encodement, the more of us who are sharing this ability on how to access this code, the bigger impact, the bigger space we hold, and the more becomes known. So that those that are that were unable to feel before may be able to feel more now. Okay. So what I'm being shown is the simplicity of the heart. And I'm just being told it's simple, it's a rose. And as I say that, it's like I'm being called to invite everybody to watch, as I've said many times, but you might be new to this channel. If you are, welcome. Dan Winter. There's another Dan Winter who's the artist, but not him. He's Dan Winter, the electrical engineer slash scientist slash many things. Fractalfield.com. He has some amazing graphics, because when I first started writing in this way and kind of sharing these messages, I didn't really quite understand what I was talking about. And quite frankly, I still don't sometimes. There's moments where I have to go and look up the information. And because of you guys, one of you, I'm not sure if it was John, it's you, John, watching, or if I can't remember. I'm sorry, I've said this so many times. Might have been Nicole. Gosh, it might have been Joshua, actually. Boy, I can't remember who it was, but somebody a long time ago said, have you ever checked out Dan Winter? You might really, so apologies if I got that mixed up, who it was, but thank you for that. And this is a perfect example on how people, social media, and how we help each other to understand, more of our reality. So I would encourage you to check out his graphics. It's a very confusing website, and I haven't been on there in quite some time because it takes time to go through some of the links. But from my perspective, I'm not a very techie person. Cancel, clear, delete that. Trying to become more techie. But I would encourage you to check out, is it Letters of the Heart or something of the sort? So basically what my guides talk about is exactly what he talks about, but my guides do it clearly in a very different way. So let me just kind of complete this. About 5 more minutes. So what I'm hearing is it's a rose. So it's a spiral. It's a toroidal spin. It's a field. And so depending on our it is vibration. But what I'm hearing is, this is going to be a whole other video, because what I'm hearing is, okay, so if somebody's vibration isn't high, that means they're in a negative place. How can they benefit from this if they're not in their, if they're not able to access their heart? Like, they're not vibrating high, right? So they're not going to ascend. They're not going to go with us to this new world, or whatever the belief system is that we have, that we're attached to, regarding reality, regarding ascension. I just would like invite everybody just to kind of move past that for a second. What I'm being shown is that multitasking, that it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. They still have the opportunity to change that at any time. I'm hearing to correct their course. So this is where us not judging, having compassion, all of those things is so important, because it could be in the blink of an eye, in a flash, that somebody has an aha awakening moment, or they have a series of aha awakening moments that bring them into a completely different geometrical of everything, where they all of a sudden go, I'm going to help humanity with my wonderful invention that I was going to use for other reasons. But you know what? I changed my mind. I changed my heart. That's weighing on my heart now. I can't do that anymore. This has got to shift. So just to share. And some may say that is a naive way of thinking, that is not a logical way of thinking, that is not the way things are. And we would venture to say the way things are usually not the way we think things are. Even in and within the spiritual community, there is a level of diversity that is within the spiritual community that keeps some people trapped in, I'm hearing objectivity, but that's a play on words. Like, it's good to be objective, but it's almost like I'm just seeing this as a representation of an object reality. Like, this is how it works. These are the layers. These are the chakras. And if you don't see it that way, then you're not really seeing things the right way. And I do see this a lot in the spiritual community. And my guides are always like, not so fast, because that might be correct to a certain extent. But I'm just kind of hearing the pieces of the puzzle are many and vast. And many of us are the pieces of the puzzle. So we cannot put a definition on the pieces of the puzzle completely and fully, for we are each creating our reality. And if we are creating our reality, the components that make up our reality are constantly being created. Therefore, they are not held to a definitive or definition by definition. Yes, there is a basic foundation of reality, and there are basic principles that from one perspective are the baseline. Yet many of the details, I'm hearing don't get caught up in the details, are irrelevant. For if we get back to the simplicity of the heart, those details will reorganize based on our own projection, based on our own ability to shift the actual moments in time that we are calculating, which changes the calculations of time, which changes how we time and view our reality in time. Therefore, none of the calculations are held to the numbers they were held to before. That's what I'm getting. So I'm gonna play with that. So if you think of time and put that into all other, this person was like that before, does that mean they are now? So we're coming back to, and yes, there are some people that will not change, by the way. And we're not here to put, that's again, comes back to codependency. We're not here to depend on them changing. But we might be pleasantly surprised. So coming back to our own hearts, coming back into alignment, have fun with this equinox, you guys, creating, dancing, singing, reading a really good book and viewing it in a different way, feeling, I'm just hearing, feel whatever comes up, allow whatever emotions come up, feel those, and really commune with the waters on the earth right now is what I'm hearing. Commune with the waters on the earth. I keep hearing that. So maybe get your feet in a pond, bless the water in your sink, in your shower, bless the water in your bathtub before it goes down the drain. Get out, stick your feet in a puddle, bless the snow. Go to a river, do the plunge in a river, right? Or stick your feet in a nice, beautiful stream. Be by a lake, but also recognize the rivers in our body are connected to the water and all of it. So we are all one. But I'm also hearing just get in tune with the earth. So in love and light, guys. Namaste.